Hello everyone, Mgawiman here at mgawiman.com and welcome to another Canva tutorial, not Canva Pro. So in this video I'm going to show you how to create professional flyers using the free Canva version. So without wasting any time, let's jump right in. But before we jump in, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to click on the subscribe button and the bell notification button. Alright, let's jump in. So to begin with, this is what we are going to create today. Let me open it up right here. Oh, and it's also right here. So shout out to Mariah Media who allowed us to actually use their work for Alright, so this is what we are going to be creating today. This is simply moving around stuff, drag and drop, or drag and drop. If you know drag like that, you can manage. If you know to scale like this, you can manage with Canva, right? And if you know how to use this background remover, but in this case it didn't even remove the background. Maybe we did some more connects here, and this one was background remove. I removed the background from this photo so I could use it right here. And the rest is text and some graphics stuff, graphics elements which you can find right here in elements for design templates. Search for finance, bring up all templates for finance, adding text, brand colors, which requires you to have a pro account. That one is for pro. Yes, project folders for organizing your work. We have apps, photos and background. The background is another app. We have audio and the translation for your videos and magic media, which I think is also pro. To begin with this, we are going to start from. So first of all, we are going to get this one. I hope we already have it because we have been talking about Canva. We talked about I gave you a full course on Canva, how to create YouTube thumbnails, how to create logos, how to create brochures. Maybe we did not look at brochures because it's a little bit advanced, but with these skills you'll be able to create those brochures. All you need to do is just go to the Canva home page and search for the type of template that you want to create from there. So let's see, I want us to first navigate the page. But in case you don't have an account in Canva, all you need to do is click on the sign up button, then click on continue with Google or with your Facebook, or just continue with the email and password. You are good to go. So once you log in, you'll be welcome. You'll have a couple of pop-ups that will ask you why you are using Canva, what do you plan, how do you plan to use it, and so on. Just for Canva to know what features that you would like, in your Canva account. Plan. You have these projects here. They are the designs and includes folders that you have as well as the images and videos that you have uploaded. You have seen that from the design editor, from the Canva editor. also include the template. Let's say the workkit. Okay, so workkits, they are also templates and tools to support your everyday tasks. That's just the work. The photos you have uploaded, you want to download from Canva, the app of Canva that allows you to get any photos that you want. Of course, some are paid, some are free. Just search for anything. Icons, control them, graphics element, and creators. These are the creators that create all the graphics templates that you have seen. And start content is what you put a star on. Let me show you how. So for example, if I had some templates here, I would put a star like this. I could save it. But if you don't have a Canva Pro and it's a Pro template, you won't be able to use it. Anyway, so if you are just beginning with Canva, I think that's enough for you to understand the whole interface and how it's laid out. So all you need to do is go to create new design, get started creating our flyer. So write flyer like that. Now we have various sizes. Now we need to know custom size. We need to ask the customer what size of the flyer do they want to create. So in that case, you can go to resize tool. Notice it's also a Canva Pro. It's also a Canva Pro feature. But if you go to resize and you go to custom size, you can see the size of this document. So it's 5 by 7 inches. The units right here. Pixels, inches, millimeters, and centimeters. So we are dealing with inches. We need 5 to 7. So we go back to Canva and we go to custom size. Okay. So you go to create new. Even on your mobile phone, this Canva has a mobile app that you can use. So you go to create new and look for custom size and enter in custom size. Make sure you are in inches and type 5 by 7. Right. Click on create new design. Alright. Now we are into the Canva editor. Canva online graphics editor. So first things first, we rename the file from here and we call it expo flyer. Expo flyer. Then that's enough. Alright, next is we are going to take a look at our example right here, our reference. But basically, you want to look at the various posts. For example, if you know that you have information about the let me check if I have this information somewhere in the document, because it's important to know the project process. Okay, so far what we have and what I need to show you are this. So I did is from Google by just searching, because if you notice from the document we are going to create, we need these logos. So I did go to Google and downloaded this by just typing in the name of this company. Of course, this is gathering the information, that is required for us to create the flyer before we actually jump into the editor. Even though I rushed into the editor just to show you that, but the first steps are always to first gather all the details that you need, everything. So if you search from there, you just go to the images tab, you search for the logo, and you right click on the logo and say open image in new tab. Now that opens up the image right here, and you can right click and go to save image as. So the reason we do that is because if you open it up right like this, you get a smaller, sometimes you get a smaller size than the actual size. In fact, what you need to do is first click on it like that so that the image loads up in its full resolution as they uploaded it. Then that's when you can click on right click, right, you can right click and open a new tab. So you notice it's bigger than this first one. That's a cool trick right there. So that's how I go on saving the logos, and I put them to my machine. And then there's another trick that I had to use to make sure that these logos, so this is logo, this is another one right here. And if you notice, it doesn't have any space, right? Doesn't have any space. So the trick I used, of course, after right clicking saying open image in new tab, then right click again and click on save image as to save it on your machine. Okay, so that's how you get the files that you need, if possible, or even the background. I also got this logo, and those are the photos I had to get. The rest is within Canva. The text or maybe the company logo, which I had also to bring in. And the client, of course, gives you the logo, right? So in order to create something like this, let's jump into so you also before we jump in, you also need the font that is going to be used. Make sure you have the fonts. If you have a couple of fonts, two fonts, if you are using two fonts right here, you don't have to use more than, even two is many. Possible you can just use one font. Just use the bold and the italic version, the light mode and the bold mode. Yeah, so you look for a font that has a large family size. Font family is called a font family. So within the font family, there's different versions of the font. Okay, the bold one, the italic, the light mode, and for that to work, I showed you in the last video how to download fonts. But if you know the name of the font, you can just type in maybe the Futuro, which everyone knows, Futuro font. You also add the word download so that Google knows you are looking for download links. Now, make sure the font you're trying to download is free, and make sure you have the rights to use it and download it, and then can install it on your machine, or you can just bring it even in Canva. You can upload your font. Okay. What else do you need to know about this? So the rest is the info. The rest is all the info, and I believe I received an email about that, about this info. Yeah, it should be somewhere in the docs. Alright, so this is the info. This is how it looks. It was in Google Docs document. So all this info had to compile it and squeeze it up to fill it up in this design. Make sure it fits in this design. So that was the task. That is the task. That is our task for today. Okay. So this information, turn it into this looks like a full YouTube some. Anyway, so this is what we are going to do. So to begin with, let's first search for let's say finance flyers in Google and go to images. You can start scrolling through and taking a look at some of these. This is just to give us some inspiration. Maybe we are just warming up to jump into the designing. So you take a look at some of these, maybe you can get some ideas. Maybe the other websites that you can use for ideas like this. It's a website called Behance. So just type in behance.net, takes you there. So what we need to do, we need to log in first, right? Yeah, we need an account with the Adobe. So you have an if you have once you have an account with the Adobe, you can be able to use all the other apps. So they purchased behance.net. We have they have all the Adobe suite, of course, the Adobe suite there, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, Adobe Illustrator, and so on. Adobe XD for developers. So you have one login of Adobe, and then it gives you access to all those apps, right? Okay, so this is the Behance. All you need to do is just search for flyer design. Then you can take a look at some ideas from professional designers all around the world. So in this case, I think this is kind of a brochure. Oh, I think that's also a flyer, the small one. So you can add the word um, finance fly. Okay, so by looking at different kinds of designs from various artists, you get to have some idea about how you are going to lay out your own. Okay, just look at that one, but it looks nice. Take time to look at it twice. Okay, so another site you can take a look at for example, for sample work. Let's see. It's called the dribble, and it's also right here. Just type in dribble. So we'll discover all these top designers and create So again, all you need to do is just search for what you want. Flyer. Add the word finance flyer. Now, another thing I usually do is maybe search for another word based on the information given to you. For the task, type in various keywords, do research on various stuff about the project. So that way you have some knowledge about the project, you have more knowledge about the project, and you have more eyes on many designs, many various designs. So your head gets more ideas. Okay, so by the time you get into Canva to start cooking, your brain is already cooking. Okay, that's the reason it takes some time to look at some of these cool designs to see what the artists, pro artists around the world. So once you take a look at like hundreds of them, maybe thousands of them from various sites, these are just two of them, Dribble and Beyonce, but there's very many of them. Even right here in Google, just scroll through all these are links to various sites with templates. So what I also do is besides those sites, besides besides going through Behance and many other sites, doing research and doing warm up, I go to Canva. Just go to canva.com. So from canva.com, go to search bar and just type in flyer. Again, take a look at the various templates about flyers. Maybe you want to be a little bit more specific, like insurance flyer. Okay. Now, as I said, we are going to be creating from scratch. You're not going to use any template, but if you want to use a template, some of these are Apple, of course, you need to pay around, I think, $15 per month. So it depends on the plan, because if you want the plan for a team, you want to add a team more than two people on your Canva account. If you want to invite more people to work on your Canva account, you have to pay around $30 per month. This is the one. Or 300 per year. But you get the premium content, you get the strong brand with brand kit and many other cool features that we have been talking about on the website technicallybrand.com, even right here on the YouTube channel. Yes, so you can check out the course. It's a free course and it talks about all these features that you will be paying for Canva Pro. So for the individual plan, if you don't have $30 per month, you can use the individual plan, which is 15 per month and 120 per year. Again, you still get access to all those features, the 100 plus million premium photos, videos, and elements, 3,000 premium fonts. Even talked about this last video about the best AI apps, the best AI video generation apps you can use to create films, create AI films, create AI dramas, stories, and YouTube and faceless YouTube channels. So that's you get 20B and get the background remover and premium animations. That's with the Canva Pro. So take some time and look at various templates and try to warm up and can get some cool ideas from pro designers all around the world. So for example, in this case, this idea here, I try to apply it here, even though it doesn't look the same, but the idea is you have information in one section, in one cell, then you can duplicate the cell very many times to reuse it. In this case, example, but this is also another example of having something duplicated to reuse it throughout. Now this is what we call consistency. It's part of design. If you are just a beginner in graphic design, I recommend you first take a look at the graphic design principles. But of course, you don't need all that in Canva. Just drag and drop stuff around. But just in case you want to understand why we are why Canva does these templates this way. Leave some space around here. Make sure that this color is popping up. It is contrast, all that stuff. If you want to learn why it's done that way, you can come in here and understand the alignment, the balance, the contrast. Now in this case, alignment would be if you use our own graphics as the example. So alignment in this case would be this, what this text right here is aligned to the left and this logo is aligned to the right. That is alignment. Now for balance, we are trying to balance this up, not to put everything on one side and one side is empty. So that's why I try to put this text on this side and the logo this side. Try to balance. And also the balance also comes in within the space between here, the space between here, the space between the items. That's all balance. Okay. Then you have the contrast to make sure something is popping up. If you change, for example, the color like this and make it red, it might not come out well, might not look well. Maybe if you make it black and then disappears completely. So that's part of contrast. Also the images you use in the background also add to the contrast. And then repetition, for example, is here of repetition. Another example is here, and also another example is this yellow banner which I could have made. Notice we have another banner, but this is huge, so that's also part of repetition. Then these lines which are the same, they are also part of repetition. This thing here, the background used here, also part of repetition. And then proximity, hierarchy, color, white space, movement, and very minimal that require a full tutorial or a full course for you to understand the basics of graphic design, the graphic design principles. Okay, but let's not bore some of you with all that stuff. Let's get to the good stuff. So again, I've showed you how to create a new document. I've showed you how to do some research and how to get some inspiration for your design before you jump into the editor. So I guess instead of spending the whole hour doing the research, you can do that in your free time. For those who are ready to jump into Canva, let's get started. Again, let's go to uh, just go to create a design, create a new design, choose the type of design you want to create, whether it's a presentation, YouTube video, Instagram post, website, whatever you want to create. you have custom size, this is where we went. You just put in our custom size and you create new. So this is where we are inside our new document right here. This is the size we decided to go with, and we have also chosen inches. We are working in inches, not in pixels. Alright, so first things first is we go back to now that we have scrolled through the internet and we have like a template that we know that we are going to use. Have First we are starting from scratch, but if you have a template, the better. And sometimes, for example, in my case, if I show you what I used, in my case, I go on saving templates. So I also did a search for microfinance. I also did a search for expo, just to get different posts and different examples. So once you find something, you click on this icon, this button, star. If you find something that you feel like is going to look good in your design, tap the star. Now, if you tap a star on a pro design and you don't have a pro account, you want to see that starred content here. So these are the designs that I'll put stars on, and during the design process, I believe I used some of these. So I don't use the whole template as is, but sometimes I copy some stuff from there. Maybe this layout, I copy these ones and I take them and I edit them. Maybe like this one, I took it and I expanded it, so I made it full. So for example, if I clicked on use, this one I could just maybe copy it, bring it here and use control V from control C to copy this, just need control C, then come back to the design, use control V. So just use the controls to scale it up to the size of the design. Now we have begun, so make sure you pay attention. So instead of doing that, I would have just come to elements and searched for something like rectangle or square. Then I just click once, I drag and drop it right here. Same process, I just expand it like this, and I can even bring it down below. So we already have the one down and the one up, and we also need the one which is color red. So if you want, we can design that right away, or we can go slow. Take it slow. Don't rush, don't panic. So you go to text and you start bringing in the text, for example the heading right now, and then we go back right here and we see that we need this text. So instead of putting all the text once, we can find a way to design it. So you just double click and use Ctrl V to paste the text. But now instead of putting it like this, can find a way to redesign it. So in this case, I got this and had to break it down to for each text to be on its own line in order to achieve something like this. So first of all, the word finance, insurance, and microfinance. Finance, insurance, and microfinance. So I bring this one here and use Control D to duplicate, and then I double click or I click to edit. So I remove all this stuff and I stay with the word finance. That's the first step. Next, we need microfinance. So Control D again to duplicate this. Write microfinance. Just copy it from here. And next, you also need the insurance. So just again Control D to duplicate. You can also use this button for duplicate. So we need to talk about this thing up here, these buttons, but this is what gives you the controls. Let's call it the controls panel or the controls bar. So whatever you have selected, if you see, I click on the side, I have nothing selected, so I have nothing to control. But if I select on anything, I have the tools or the control bar. Let's call it the tools bar. So the tools here, for example, I can edit this and change it to any shape, right? Go back to this one. Then what else? I can change the color. I can add your own color from color code. You can add gradients. You can see just change the first color and the second color. Let's see if we have any gradient in our design. We don't. But if you want, you can just apply it. This second color would be then we also have the option to change how the gradient appears. Okay. Next is now it's not that they are the same options, but it depends on what element we have selected. You'll see the options here for the tools. So this one is for border. If you want to add a border like that. You can also change the color of the border right here. Okay, now what just happened there is I clicked on something that is only available for pro users. This one, the brand kit, and I showed you how to use the brand kit in that course that I just mentioned earlier. It's on Udemy and it's on tutorials point. It's also on the website, and I think it's also available on the YouTube channel, the whole course on how to use Canva. Because in the next few tutorials we'll be advancing to more pro stuff like video edit. I already seen video editing in Canva. Maybe we shall look at some AI stuff, the power of AI to create content, to create films using the Canva AI tools, the Magic Studio, Magic Editing, Magic Translate, and etc. Alright, so let's move on here. We need the word insurance. I know I was taking you through the tools bar, up here. So I had this shape selected and I showed you can have borders. You can also choose whether to put rounding corners or not, and this is where I change the font. The shape that we have selected right now has the option to type in text within the shape, so that text is going inside the shape. So that's why we have the type or character options, text options here, like changing the font. If you scroll below, this where you add or upload their own fonts, but it's available for pro users. This is the size of the font, color of the font, and more text options like the alignment. You want to align this text to the left or to the right. So let's see an example here for alignment. So right now the text is aligned to the center, but you can align it to the left or to the right. And we also have the list. For example, if we have more than one line, this case is one line, but if you have more than one line, those are the list. And then we have the size or the spacing between the text, so between the line and also between the characters. Okay, as easy as that. Dragging. You have transparency, which we can test on images or on a background like this, on this shape. So you have transparency like that. And the animations, you can animate this thing to come on screen like that, to come on like that. Various types of animations. Depends on what element you have selected. Even the text, they have their own animations like that. And the position also works with kind of aligning the page. In this case, we are aligning to the page. And the last button here copies style. For example, if you have a certain type of font and you want to apply it to another text, you just copy that style. For example, let me show you. Let me show you, because this right now we have the same font and the same style, so it's nothing to copy. But first, we need to know the font that we use, and I don't remember it. So it's called ABZ. In that case, we search for the font. I've already showed you the tools bar. So now we are going to increase some speed. You know where the tools are. Now we just search for B. So you see the font is there. Okay, that's the first step. And then you can use the copy style and paste it to the rest of the text, and it just changes to that style. Okay, that's that tip out of the way. Let's go back to the reference. So now we know that financing has the same font as microfinance and the expo. Insurance has just a different font. Insurance, and also the alignment should be left alignment for all these. Okay, they should be on the same line. Make sure it's left aligned, the same line. So those guides are helping us. So microfinance and the word expo last. But what I've noticed is I might have to reduce the size because it's not fitting here. Maybe I need to reduce the letter spacing. No, I don't think so. But we see how it goes. So first thing is done, finance. And what else? Finance. It's supposed to be finance. So the next thing is I need to put that box around. So what you can do is just go to elements. I think I've taken you through this. Maybe you didn't see the upload because I didn't have anything to upload, but this way you upload your media, the type of files from your computer. And I believe there are some other ways to upload, like from Google Photos, from Google Drive, from Dropbox, and etc. So to create that line, this red line around here, we need to go to, you can use this one, just drag and drop, then you start editing. By the way, we didn't even have to bring it in, just duplicate this same one here. And then what we need to do is remove the color inside, which is the fill color. So the first color is the fill color, the next one is the stroke color, which they call the border color in Canva. So we need to remove the fill color by clicking on the no color button here. So the color inside is gone. Now we have the stroke. So the stroke, go to border style and we choose the kind of style that we are looking for, as in the example here. So in the example, I see that we have these dots, and then we can reduce it to any size that we want. Let's delete this text. So we can reduce it to any size that we want and bring it here. So we make sure it's on top. First of all, we change the color. I think we have a weird color here. I tried to change it to gradient. I don't know why it doesn't change. So to change this, first begin by changing the color of this one. Make sure we have the correct color. Maybe if we want, we can go to the example. Let me show you how to get. So I can just click on this this background. Don't have it. Let me click on this one. So you can have the background color for it. And if you go to the color and you can see the code. If you click on those buttons, just copy the code from here. Control C. Then go back to our design and go to the color that you want to choose. Let's first remove the border. Okay, like the border. Okay, the border is here. Just reduce it to 0 if you want to remove it, or click on this button. So the fill color is what we want to change. You can just go to add a new color and paste our color from our color code from the document we have just copied. So now we have our nice orange color. I don't know if that's color orange, but I've just showed you how to create this. So we reduce the size by going to border style and changing the border weight from 7 to maybe 3 or 5. Let's type in 5 and again reduce it to the size of the text. Make sure it's just enclosing the text. Okay, and also make sure the border color is color red, like that. Okay, that's also step done. Next is the text insurance and bring in that money bundle. I don't know if it's a money bundle. So this text here, we need to know the font which you should have from your client. The client should tell you which font to use, but in case they don't, you can just improvise. So this one is called Liba Baskerville. So just come in, select, but make sure you have the text selected that you want to change the font for, and click on the font and come to the font search. So it's called Baskerville. Bas okay, let me go back now. It's called Liba. So Liba. Alright, I think this is the one. So I select the font and use the bold, and I think we need to reduce the size. But when I look at this design, it doesn't seem like it's the font. I think we need to use the italics version, and you need to use Ctrl Z or these buttons and or in order to go back to the size of the font that I had earlier, this size, and then make sure I use regular and italic. All right. Next is we need to bring in this one and this one. Work on this one. So for this one, I just improvised and recreated. For example, if you have this here, or if you have this one here, delete this. I can just let's say about this word finance, microfinance, expo. So we have that. I can just duplicate this text, Control D, and use it for 20, and duplicate it again. I bring it down below and I say 25. Then I select both of them using Shift key. Click one and use Shift to select the other. Then make sure we have something like this. Make sure they are in the center of this shape. Squeeze it. Okay, next is we see we have red color. 25 is in yellow color, so 25 should be in this color right here, which you already have selected, and then you should change background color to red, and then change the other text, the other 20 to white color. Right, that's done. Maybe if you zoom in a little bit, you are going to notice, okay, not so much. If you zoom in a little bit, you're going to notice that we have some kind of a stroke. Some kind of a stroke around. Now, if you want to create that, you have also maybe first zoom in a little bit. So if you use these buttons that's below, just zoom in like that, click and drag, then select this shape and go to border. Make sure we have a small border there, maybe 2 pixels or even 1 pixel. So once you have that, you can go to border color and look for, make sure you create a gradient for that. That's what I saw. And then we need to change the colors of the gradient, and maybe, and then we need to change how the gradient is laid out. Linear gradient, you have linear gradient, you have depends on how many degrees. 130, we have 180, then we have circular. Okay, this is the one you're going to use for now. Next is you're going to make sure this is small enough, the size of our text, so it's not so huge. So we take this up here like that, and then make sure this text should fit. So first of all, we reduce this spacing, letter spacing, like that. Then I think we need to reduce the size of the text itself, maybe to 30, and then that means we also change this to 30 pixels. Okay, so the word expo, take a look at our example. Okay, this is another one, this was another version, but we need this version. So we need exp, and then we can just use this like a letter O. This I think you just created, use it like a letter O. And another thing I've noticed is our text is lowercase or small letters, and this one is in capital letters or uppercase. So that's that. We can solve that by just clicking one button. Select the text and go to this button, uppercase. That makes sure that all the text is in uppercase. Instead of rewriting it, if instead of writing the whole text in uppercase, we just use that one button. Now here is an issue. We have our border on top of the text. So in this case, we can't select the text. Now, if you want to solve this, you just use Control and there's some button called the brackets. Brackets. Brackets on the keyboard. So on your keyboard, um, look for the brackets. These ones, the in and out bracket. If it's on such type of keyboard, they are together right here. In and out bracket. These are the buttons you use, but you also use the control button along with those two buttons. Let's go back here. So if I use the control button and the in bracket button, you find that this text or this thing moves behind. To see it clearly, let's bring back the background color. So now we have the background color. So if I use the control button and the out bracket, now it comes on top of the text. Now if I use the control and the in bracket, it goes back to behind. Now the other option you can use to achieve this is right clicking and using the option for the layer. So you can see the shortcuts are right here. Bring forward, that's the control and the out bracket. Bring to front, we also hold down the alt key for that. So if you have an element that is way behind other elements in the hierarchy, they call it the hierarchy. So just use that button, bring to front or send to back if you want to send an image in the background of many elements. Anyway, so that's another code right there. Let's first remove the background by using the no color button. Now we have text on top. So what you want to do is make sure it's capital or uppercase. Just click on this uppercase button. That is solved. Also make sure this border is closing the whole text. Alright, our post header is coming together. So we are going to zoom in again and reduce the size of this that we have just created like that. And now it's becoming too round. First of all, we use control and the out bracket to bring it in front like that, in front of the zero of the O. And then we select it, look forward, select it and go to corner rounding options and reduce the corner rounding. Notice that to, let's say 15 for now. Next is we need to make sure the text, the word expo is visible enough. So here is the selection tip. If you want to select, you can use like this. If you drag a rectangle, you can just select something like this. Now in this case, you are selecting everything within the rectangle. So even the background has been selected. But we can use the shift button to click on the background. And in that case, we have deselected the background. So again, it seems like we need to again reduce the size, but in this case, let's first shift it or drag it. Click and move it on the side using shift button, holding down shift to keep it in the line. See, if I don't hold down shift, I can move it around like this. But if I hold down the shift key, it moves within one line, straight line. So I move for this text back, and this still need to do some work here. So let me see something. Microfinance, I remember that we changed data spacing, but I'm not sure I changed the data spacing for the text expo. So in this case, I just copy the value and I paste it here and I use enter. So it's the same. And I also remove the letter O. I replace it with this. I'll show you how to select. So if I don't say it, you might already know. Use the rectangular marquee selection and use the shift key to deselect the rest of the stuff. Bring our letter O like that. And then again, using the rectangular marquee selection, I select everything and deselect the background using the shift key. So now we have this. What you need to do is scale it down. But before we scale it down, let's first scale down the text for financing like that. Then select the whole text. Let's make sure the same size here, 32, is also the same size here. So make sure financing is also 30 before we scale down everything. So now it's time to scale down everything. You just use the rectangular marquee selection, use the shift to keep deselect the background. Now we have these ones, we can scale them down like that. Alright. Next is we bring in the logo and we bring in this logo, and we also bring in this take globe in the background, as well as this money band coin pile up. So I think that deserves a small break. Just take a sip of water. Alright. Let me first check my phone. I need to make sure we are very. Okay, so next is we bring in this globe from elements. So just go to elements and search for, you're talking about microfinance. Go to, now the elements have been broken down into various categories. For example, you have a category for graphics where you find all these graphics elements. And then you have a category for photos where you find there is realistic some stuff taken by cameras and maybe some AI generated, you never know. Then you have a category for videos about the same topic that you have just searched here. Charts, shapes, audio, frames. So frames are the ones for replacing photos, and we used frames in our example here to place these photos. These are frames. Let me just show you an example of frame. So if I search for frames and I go to frames, we have a frame. In our case, we use this frame to place our logos. But you have various types of frames. Frames like star, can place a photo into a star. Okay, make sure you scale this down a little bit. You can place mockups and so on. So all you need is look for an appropriate photo to go along with this insurance. So you just bring the photos and paste and drag and drop the photo into the frame. That's how the frames work. Simple as that. You can also apply this technique for text frames. I don't know if they're called text frames. I don't think they are called text frames, but I believe if you go to text, go to elements and look for frames. If you scroll down below, I'm sure you'll find the text that you can replace, text that you can use as a frame. For example, this letter G. Just bring in a photo and place it within this letter G. That's also another cool trick right there. Pro trick. Now these photos are Canva photos, so they are going to come with a watermark. But if you need free photos, you can go to apps and search for the app called Pixar. If you go to apps and go to photos, okay, this is the app for the Canva. But if you go to app for Pixabay, search for Pixabay, you have this app that gives you free photos using your designs. Just search for a topic like finance, and we have all these photos which don't have any watermark in them. Anyway, so that is a quick tip there for you about frames, how to use them. So in our case, we are looking for a graphic element. I think I call it a globe or take globe. Make sure you are not in frames but in graphics. Look for graphics, and this is what they give us. So then I'm going to search again. I'm not sure what keyword I used last time to get the exact globe, but let's search for microfinance. Microfinance globe, or let's try insurance finance. Let's try money or tech. Let's try tech. Tech globe. We tried tech globe already. Okay, so we might end up using something a bit different from something that's not exactly the same as the globe we used earlier. If I click on this one, just click once. just click once, and then we are going to use this one right here, or we use this one. So delete this one by clicking on delete button. If you don't want to edit something like this one is the background right here, I can lock it. Once you lock it, even if we select again, it won't be selected, which is very cool. So with this one selected, I can scale it up to fit this size like that. Then I can move it up like this, holding down the shift button to so that it stays in a straight line. Next is I have to move it behind all the text by right clicking and going to layer, move backward, or send backward. Now I have to use to click this again and again until I make sure it's behind all the text. So in my case, this is what I will do. I'll just right click and say send to back. So right now it's at the back of everything. Now I use control and the out bracket shortcut I just showed you to bring it forward just a notch. Next, if I need to make sure the text is still visible, so I will change the color of the globe to white and reduce its opacity. So with this globe selected, I go to its color. Notice how we have fewer options now because we have some other elements selected. But if you have the text selected, you have more options, even the effects option for applying shadows and the neon colors. Anyway, so we have the globe selected, we go to color and we change it to white color. That's done. It doesn't change the color, not sure why. Maybe you can refresh this page by using Ctrl R. So again, select this element and go to color and look for white color. So there must be an issue with this element. It doesn't change color. So this is not a shape, it's probably an image. It doesn't change color. So we go back to elements and for globe. Go to graphic, look for something that you can use. Okay, let's first remove the word finance. Just type in globe. There's some nice stuff here, but it's for Canva Pro. That's the only issue. But you can get the Canva Pro free trial using the card. And so again, I've showed you how to scale this, and then you can move it in place and change the color. Many colors to change here. So make sure most of the colors are white here, and then make sure it's in the background by using Control and the in bracket, and then reduce the size, reduce the transparency or the opacity like that. So it's just right there sitting down. Make sure this color is white. This one is white. Alright, now we'll increase the opacity to 30, transparency. Next is maybe we need to bring in that color that we talked about. that logo. Let me bring in my own logo. My logo needs some work removing the background, but removing the background is very easy using AI tools. Just search for background remover here in Google, and you just click on remove background or in any other tool right here. Even the Adobe has its own. For Canva, it's a paid tool, but there's this free one called Remove Becky. Just upload the image and it removes the background automatically. One click, download your photo. Some of those, some of them don't allow you to download high quality photo until you pay for some credit. But most of these are free. You can find free ones here. There's also another one here. Remover.ai. I think I also have a full list on the website. The best background removers. Anyways, who has questions today? What's some questions today? No comment, no comments on the YouTube yet. Last slide had a question on YouTube. There is some question. Sorry, I wish I could change the category of this video. Not exam category. I think it should be education. Okay, next, let's take a look at I've showed you background removers if you want to remove background from any photo. Now, if you want to use advanced tools for removing background from your photo or for any editing photos, you probably need to have Photoshop on your machine, Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so I don't know what keywords I use, but I might end up copying some of these elements and taking them to our design. I don't remember what keywords I actually used. So since this is not my project, let's make sure we have the correct logo there. Just drag and drop. I believe I also used this tool to remove the background from this logo. Okay, next is we need to move on to the next part here, which is the red and the white text on top, talking about the date and the location of this event. And this text is all here in the briefing. This is called the brief. It includes the text, the task at hand, everything that you need. Sometimes you get the logos that you're going to use. So in our case, we need to put, okay, they also mentioned that we need to put a photo of 15 notes. Now that one was this photo right here, 15 notes, and more info there. So what we need to put now is that next part. So for that next part, we can just get this shape right here and duplicate it, Control D, but it's locked. So first unlock it, and then you can have the option for duplicating it. Move it down below and rescale it the appropriate size that you want. Next is go to color and change it to red. Next is bring in the text. Use this text by duplicating it like that, and then go back to the brief and bring the information that you need. So in our case, we need the date, copy, double click, and we go to Control V to paste, Control C, Control V, Control A to select all the text, and use font size options, font size controls to reduce the size, and use this handle to move the text around, drag it around, reduce the text again up to maybe 15 pixels. Next is make sure it's in color white, duplicate it again to place the venue right here, copy the venue like that. Now the client wants this venue to have its website as well, so we have to create some space for that too. First of all, let's zoom in and make sure we have to reduce the space size of this text. Double click, use Ctrl V to paste the location like that. Maybe reduce the size to 9. And we need the icons now. We need the icon for time, icon for location. So we go back to elements and we search for time or venue. So for venue, we bring, I'm trying to look for something that doesn't have this brown icon, which means it's a pro. It's going to have a watermark when we are downloading. So I'm trying to look for something that doesn't have, it's not a pro. That does it require us to have a pro account to use it? So let's try location, and we have something like this. Just drag and drop it, or we can delete this and bring in this. Next is we search for date and we bring in this one. Next is how to scale them to make sure they like that. Just use those controls, those handles in the corners. Same with this one. Then we need to zoom in again. Let's first collapse this so we have more space, and make sure we zoom in again. So make sure we bring this to the right place, the right size. I think we still need to reduce the size of this text. Maybe we probably need to reduce the space, letter spacing, and this one we need to remove the italics. Let's leave the italics. Okay, so lastly we need to add the website. So we duplicate this text Actually, the text we are going to use this text, but we are going to use this font called, this is not the font. The correct font is this one. So that we need fix by selecting the text and go to the font. See why it was not fitting here. That means we need to add this size to 30 pixels, and we need to add this to 30 pixels, or probably 25, 27, 27 pixels. This doesn't seem to be the same as this. Duplicate that, so make sure I have the same size. Okay, so I need to change this text to this font as well, and then I go back to the brief and copy the correct link. Be sure to copy everything from the brief so that you don't make any unnecessary mistakes. It's very easy to make mistakes while typing your own stuff. It's easier if you're just pasting stuff from somewhere and it's already corrected. So in our case, while pasting the link just goes into the text. The text doesn't come here. So that's the issue. So let's just first delete all the text. Wait, before we delete all the text, move that text and paste our own link, and then bring the cursor here, delete that. Let's zoom in again and reduce the text size to maybe 5 or 7, maybe 7. And next is you are going to reduce the whole size of this bar without selecting the red bar, like that. Make sure it fits it. This text can be 12 pixels. Okay, so this text seems to be this color right here. Alright, that's also done. Next is we move on to the organizers or the sponsors of the event. So this is where the downloading of the logos comes in, and at the beginning of this video I showed you how to download these logos from the internet, how to save them. Now what I did, the other thing I did to make sure they are all the same size, I went to Canva and created a new document with the same size, which is custom size 500 pixels by 500 pixels. Make sure I in pixels. So that's a square document. Once it's a square document, I go on bringing in the logos and placing them here, creating a new document, placing the logo, and then I export all of the logos at once. So I come back to my document and I bring in the logos, and then I go to elements and I search for frame again, just like I showed you earlier. Search for frame and go to the frames option right here, frames tab. So I bring in something like this, and I make sure I know how many logos I need by looking at the brief. I need 5 logos. As you can see, the first option was to list the organizers in a way of just text, and then we saw that we had too much text in the design, so we reduced that to this. And I think we did some other version before that, before this. We did like a couple of versions before we reached to this stage. This is the next part, bringing in these logos. And I've showed you how to search and download them. And I've showed you how to drag and put something here. So the next part would be to make sure we have all that we need, the text, this one, the title and the link. So bring our frame, also need our heading that will come in later. So we duplicate this, for example, duplicate this text and we know that it's going to be for the website link. Make sure the alignment is center alignment, and then you can duplicate this text again, and or you can just delete this and duplicate this, which is bigger. This is too big. Duplicate this one and make it black color for now. Maybe the other thing, first paste the name of the bank. Make sure the text is center aligned and reduce the spacing by hold down the Alt key like that. So we have that, and we need 5 of them. So we need to make sure 5 of them are going to fit here. But the other thing that we need to make sure of is we need to first test the size of the text that is the longest. So we make sure if the longest text can fit, that means we don't have to worry about the shorter text. So you have to first make sure at least the longer text is going to fit, but it's not going to take up the whole space. B7, so we make sure this is also going to be 7. And maybe we want to use a different font for this. Maybe that font will do. And alignment, make sure it's center alignment. So here we notice that we need to bring our links further down. It's not bad. And then before we duplicate everything else, let's first change this color to this one. Before we duplicate everything else, if you already know the type of background color that you want, you can place it there. Then you can change the color of the text before you duplicate anything. But if you don't, sometimes you don't, and you just have to create this color and then you bring in the background later. So that's what we'll do. Let's bring in the background later. But that will affect us a little bit because we have to change the color of the text again. Alright, so we need to duplicate these two, Control D, like that, and we need another one. Remember there are 5. So in our case, we already know the type of layout that you want, but in my case, I had to first design some stuff and see how I can improve it, but we don't have the time right now. It could take like hours, maybe 5 hours or more. So I will need one more. We are going to first select all this using a rectangular marquee selection, and then scale them down so we have space for one more. I'm not holding down the shift key, but I can use the guides to see where I need to place. Again, we need to scale them a little bit down, make sure we have some spacing on the sides. Next is we need to bring in the title, co-organizers, as in the right here, co-organizers. We need to bring in this title. So we have the website's links. But before we bring in the title, we can bring in this text that is required here. Using Control H, select all the text, Control V to paste here on. Okay, I need to also copy the links. Okay, when you're copying the links, make sure first remove the text that's here. Okay, now I noticed that for the links we need to expand this a bit. And now that we have already duplicated the rest of the text, that affects us because we might have to resize all of them, and in that case some of them might not fit. So we should have looked into that before we duplicated everything else. So for me, what I did in order for everything to make sure that all the links fit, what I did is I removed this first part for HTTPS. I removed it from every website. In fact, I think I left the www dot. So I can copy using shift and the direction key, can go on pasting it here. Lastly, this site. Alright, now that we have that, you bring in the logos that you uploaded from, I think I have those in certain folder. I think these are not the ones. These are the ones that hadn't yet cropped. But as I told you, I get these ones and I upload them to this square sized document like that, and I upload another one. I do the same, copy it, and for me I also ended up cropping off, I believe, either one side of this, maybe crop off this side, then we have this, and maybe we can crop off this side. That's how we crop images in Canva. Then I download these and I bring them in. For some reason, so this one I downloaded and I went to these tools for removing background, remove AI or remover.pg, and many more. I removed the background and I brought it to Canva, uploaded it so I can scale it like this to fit the size that I want to use. Next, how many are these? There are 5. So we have this and this. Then we are done. So Control X cut. create new page and paste here. Control, add a new page and bring one below on the new page, scale it down, scale it up. Also, another thing you notice is this image has some kind of small shadow on the edges, so you can crop that out like that. Okay, so if you zoom in, I think you will notice it, that small line. So let's crop it off like that. So reduce the size a little bit. Already don't have it. This one I can also cut off, maybe cut off that part or crop it off. And another thing that we can do with this one, maybe we can change the background color to this. Otherwise, we'll have to go back to a background remover tool to remove this background because it's not consistent. It's not as the same as this, if you can notice. So you click on this background, go to color, change the color based on the photo colors. So from the photo colors, we will be sure that from this photo we have that color. And if you have noticed the difference, the white and then this color from this photo. So Canva automatically picks all the colors from your photos. But just in case it doesn't, for me I have a tool here, color picker, just a plugin that I can use to pick colors. Just click once and pick any color and copy it. So you can bring it in here like this, click here and click add new color, paste your color code like that. So once we have this, we can just go to download, then choose the format, maybe JPEG or PNG, and make sure you can select all pages, then you can download them once, or you can download one by one. Let me just download all of them at once. So if you want to download one by one, you have to go to download and choose which page you want to download, maybe current page or page 3 or 4, etc. So I go back to this place and I go to folders and I look for where it's been downloaded and I open it up like this. You have this 5. And if you want, you can move them from here and put them to another folder. I don't know if I drag them here, will they come in? They couldn't. So I have to first remove them from this compressed folder. We call it the zip folder. Now to do that, you can just create a new folder. Right click and go to new folder and call this folder, what can we call it? Call it icons. Sorry, organizers, and open the folder. So with this zipped file open, you can just select all these files, drag them to your organizers folder. And now that's what we call unzipping the folder. The other option to unzip folders is just click and say extract here or extract files. Then you select the folder where you want to extract those files. This is also another cool trick right there. So now we have these logos, just select them and drag them to once you have where you can um, upload, just drag them to your upload tab. They are ready to go. Alright, so we have our logos in. All we need to do is drag and drop. Drag to black within the frame. So we have another one. I think it's supposed to be okay. This one is supposed to be here, and this one's supposed to be here. This one right here, maybe this one right here. All right. Next is I think we need to bring in that background color. So this background also first need to bring in the title. So for this title, I showed you an example here. You see this dotted line border. It's the same idea right here that you need to use. In fact, you can just duplicate that one up there if you want. Or you can just go back to elements, search for shape, and you go to shapes. So if you bring in this shape right here, you need to go to color and make sure you don't have any background color. What we need is the border style. So we need like 1 pixel of this border or 3 pixels maybe. And then we need to make sure it's enclosing all these organizer logos, okay, like that, and it has some good spacing for it. And we can use the arrows to move it up a little bit or scale it or expand it using those controls. Next is we bring in the title. You can change the border color to red while we are here, and you notice this the space here is not the same space here, which I believe we need to fix as well before we move on. So we bring in maybe text like this, duplicate it, and change it to core organizers, but not in capital letters. So we select all text by using Ctrl A, and we go to this button, uppercase, click it. So in that case, all the text becomes lowercase. Next is select all the text and go to effects and have a background for that. Choose the background color and make sure the text color is white. Okay, next is reduce the size of the text like that. The font size, reduce the font size to like maybe 14 or 12, depending on a consistent font size throughout the document. So for example, if we are going to use this, remember you need first look through all the information and know what you need, and possibly where to put it by looking at the various templates that the whole process as you saw it. Look at various templates and maybe get some ideas of where you're going to place your own elements and so on. So from here, if you're going to use core organizers as this, so we notice that we have a kind of a similar section. It means we have to use the same size for this, and maybe the same size for this heading, because it's kind of a similar two similar sections. So core organizers, make sure it's within the center based on the type of alignment that you have been following. So for my try, I decided to change the alignment from here going forward. Change the alignment to center. Next is we need to create cost for the 4 days. Need to create this section, and in my case I did not keep this the same size, which is, I think is a mistake, not necessarily. So we need to create the next section for, so in my case I first skip through this and I first did this. So I went to this one. Cost for the 4 days, Now looking at this, we know that we need numbers, we need somewhere to place this. So that's why for me I broke it down into this. But if you look at the first example, it's the same thing I had done. I also have another example where I did something different, totally different. Not didn't put this coins, but maybe come back to that. So we need to find a way to design that element, that next part, which is this cost. So in my case, I went here to elements. Just me will spend more time under element. So under elements, I search for text and I go to graphics. Also, maybe I search for finance or microfinance. Now I know where I got that. I can remember where I got that. Now I told you I already told you that I used various templates. So I don't use I don't use like a template and I edit it. I use various templates and I go on picking various elements, various templates, and I combine them into my own design. So instead of using a template that everyone else is using, I make sure I customize it completely. So if we go back to templates and choose start the content, these are some of the templates I had saved for the design. But this is for another design. If you scroll back down below, I think this is where I started saving. So I saved some stuff. Some of it I did use, like that I did use. But for this one, this is what I used. And I believe this is the template that I edited. If we bring up the design, notice that we did some customization to it. So this section here, right here, and then this I had to recreate, plus this I had to recreate. Okay, so just use the idea here and converted it to this. So for this part, I believe there's a separate template that had those elements where I could just go in and copy that specific element. So these are templates that I saved from hours of research. But again, as I said, some of them you end up not using. So in our case, I think we are going to copy something from here or from here. From here. Okay, so we copy this. going to be like that. So we copy this, Control C, go back to our design, Control V, size it, start bringing in the information. We need the title, in this case I can duplicate one of this text, maybe this one, make it a little bit big, make it bold, that's one. Next, need the price, make sure this is white. Control D and paste the text, make it not bold, and make sure the whole UGX is on one line. Next is look for, we add this text for the tax information, duplicate this one, paste this text. So make sure we have three of these. Are there three? There are three of these. So you look for a way to fit them, and maybe if you want you can change the color, background color to a gradient color. So in our example, we have them laid out like that. Maybe you can select this, and now I see that they might not fit here. Duplicate once and you bring this down, notice that they might not fit. So before we duplicate, we are going to create some space by reducing the space here. Notice that the upper part has more space, has taken up more space. So to reduce space, we should select everything up here and we deselect, or just move everything up like that and bring back the logo a bit. And the background, make sure we can reduce the space between here, so we can take back this globe up like that. Scale it again so that it feels like that. Next is, now we move this up, this whole, using rectangular marquee selection, all these elements up like that. And now we have some space. Control D, have some space for the prices, the plans, or the packages. So in our case, we have decided to use a different layout than the one in the example. But in any case, you can find a way of being creative in your own way. So now we see that we have some text out here, which we don't know where it came from. Not sure. Then we need a title for this, so we can just duplicate this one and call it what? Call it cost for the 4 days. Control C, Control V. Okay. Next is, before we move on, we might want to reduce this spacing between these elements, because we need some more space for the contacts. But I usually design and look at that later. That usually takes more time, more of your time, because you have to go back. So before I duplicate this, I have to make sure it's a good size. I'm not sure what I searched, but in our case we are going to just copy this element from another template that you might have found on the internet on through Canva. Then you can paste that element right here. So I bring the text. Let me delete this one. I make sure the text is color black, maybe. But okay, title. Make sure it's at the back of the text. So that's how it's laid out. We need three of those, and once we have them, we can select all of them and resize like that. Okay, next is we need to bring in, of course you need to first copy all this information and paste it there, but we don't have the time for now. So we are just going to move on. Before we move on, down below there's a section that we had skipped, and for this I've showed you the template I used to design that. So for the template, the elements I used, because I don't really know the keyword to search in order to find this type of element. So in that case, I just copy it from this template. I'm not really sure what to search to get. Maybe you can type circle or something like that. But what I would do is just copy this element, go back to my design and paste it. So reduce the size. Maybe we can push this on the side, have more space. Next, what I see here is I need to write based on this, to write opportunities. And for that, I can maybe bring in this text to use a different font, to use one of the other fonts that I've decided to use in my design, and change its color, paste that. Next is I need to bring in these pointers. So one way is to duplicate this text and put all of them in one text box. It's called a text box. The other way is to put each of them in a separate line, which I believe I used in this method. So I need to first, of course, you need to first duplicate one of them. So duplicate this one and go back to your brief and maybe copy. But as I mentioned earlier, you need to test the longest copy. You need to test the longest text. Make sure the longest text can fit. It means even the small text will fit very well. So sometimes I read through and I see if there's text that I can remove. So I need to reduce the size maybe to this. Next is I need to have how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4. So since I'm going to use my own pointer here, I will remove that. Duplicate again. In backspace, I remove that. Lastly, can just go back using Ctrl Z, duplicate this. Now what I've noticed is think my text is supposed to be aligned in the center. So maybe I should just do that. Text alignment, center, 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 and lastly, we can select all these elements to make sure they have the same spacing between them. The spacing between here and here is the same spacing between the last line and the other line. So what I also did is, since this text is not fitting here, even if it's the last, I can just place it in the middle, and then I can bring the other text which can fit well the last here, bring it there. So based on the design shape, I try to fit the information like that. And then to make sure the spacing between all of them is the same, I use shift key to select all of them, select one and hold down the shift key to select others, and then go to position and look for space evenly. So select vertically, even horizontally, or tidy up. Tidy up is also helpful because it also makes sure everything is in the center. Okay, that's another cool trick right there, pro trick. So what next is to change this shape or line, I don't even know what to call that, to an appropriate color. Based on our template, I believe is supposed to be this one. And then we need bullet or bulletin. So just search for bullets from elements. Or you can just search for point. So you choose any of these can work, even this one. But this is too much. Maybe this one. So again, I'm trying to stay away from anything that has the pro icon, because when you are trying to export, it's going to come with a watermark. So I'm trying to avoid that. So instead of bullet, maybe search for point. Is this. So you can scale this down and make sure you zoom in. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And lastly, make sure we have some space right here. Okay. Next, I think it's time to bring in the background color, or it's time to create space for the contact info right here. Notice we have many numbers to place. So usually I just copy all the numbers and come back to the design and see how to go along with that. Maybe duplicate this text and paste the numbers. Make sure maybe they are all selected and aligned to the left. Try to remove these commas and this unwanted space. This unwanted 0. Next is I have to create space for this. So again, I have to go into the document and look for where there's too much space, possibility of there's a possibility of squeezing this a little bit. So all that small space goes on adding up. Maybe there's a possibility of pushing this a little bit up like that. Then we can move everything like this. Okay, now we have some space, but we still need more. Then we can look into maybe here that, or even maybe reducing the size of this text. So you notice now we have some space in the text. Also need space for the location. So in our design, our example design, we need like I think 2 photos. Okay, I think we need 1 photo, but this is a background which is black. This one, notice the line. So we need that. Maybe you can duplicate this same one, or you just go back to elements and search for shape. But you don't have time to waste, so just duplicate this one. Okay, not that graphic, but the background shape. Control D and bring it down like this. Make sure it covers up to where the phone numbers begin from, and change the color to black, and send it to the back. Right click, send to back, reduce the opacity. Now in order to see what we want to see, we need to first bring in the photo, the background photo. So in this case we go to photos and we search for money. Just to be more specific, you can search for Uganda shilling. And we have this example which you can bring in like this. So in our case it's covering the whole of the what, the page. So use Ctrl Z to undo that. Then we can go back to element and search for frame. Okay, so next we go to frames tab. I've already showed you all this. Now we are moving a little bit more fast to make sure you can finish this up in less time. So we bring in this frame and make sure it's the size of this shape like that. Next is make sure we send it to back. Right click, go to send to back. Next, before we send to back, let's first replace the photo that we just searched here. So once you have replaced the photo, you can right click and go to send to back. So you notice our design is trying to come together, but the problem is we need to change all the text to white. So that's why we needed to put the background before we did all this. But the good thing is if you select all the text at once, if it's the same color, you can change all its color at once back to white like that. Now I noticed that we need to change some hierarchy. Hierarchy is how everything is displayed. So in this case, I think this one is on top of the text. Let's try to use control and the in bracket key. So select this text. Maybe also this one needs to be at the back. Control in bracket, control in bracket. So we select all these text at once. No time to waste. It to white. I think this one moved a notch. Take it back there. Next, also the same to this. Next is, I think we need to push this one a little bit up like this. Oh, and not forgetting the pointers. Okay. Next is, I think we need to expand that photo to span through the rest here, background. So to access the photo, I'm going to first reduce this top shape that's covering it, so I can access its controls to scale it up like this. Then you can bring back this one. Next is also the text is supposed to be white. Next is we go back to the brief and see that we need to place the location right here. Duplicate Control D, then to go back to the document, the brief, Control C to copy your location and trying to move past here. And then you can crop, you can resize this like that. Try to see if all the text will fit in. What's missing now? What's missing is the titles here. Titles. For the titles, I use this font type. That's the one I used. So I have to first zoom in a little bit because I'm giving it little space here. But also the other thing I need to add is that logo in between here. So I go back to folders and I look for this logo. Just drag it to place. Make sure it's in the center of the document. By using the help of that line, there's a bold line that's going to come up. Bold line. Some have to look for it. So what else? I need to place WhatsApp icons and the email icon. So there's also something I've left behind. I need to place the website for these guys, the name plus the website. Okay, so in that case, I need to zoom in and also duplicate this link right here. So this link needs to be here and I need it to be left aligned. Next, the title, which also needs to be left aligned, and reduce the size. So I need the title for this side too. So I paste the physical location supposed to paste here, then sales them to paste it this side. Take a sip of water. Okay, next is I think that's it. I think we have everything now. Maybe this one, the general font. Let's see how we have done that in the sample. Okay, first of all, we need to duplicate this. We have our general font, but it seems like it also needs a heading. To copy it. Control C and Control V. Okay, we need it's clear that we need more space for this section to work. More space for that section to work. So let's see if that will be enough. Expand the photo a little bit more. Zoom in a little bit more. Then we need to put the WhatsApp button before we continue here. WhatsApp. So go back to graphics instead of frames and you'll find, if you don't find it, because most of these are paid for, they are in pro, but you can download it of course from the internet. Just search for WhatsApp icon. Maybe add WhatsApp business and click on it and right click, open it, open image in new tab and right click again, just save image as, save it, and then you can drag and drop it into your document. So we need that button, and I think I have it somewhere, but let's just use the ones available for now. So for example, let's say we can use, guys have monetized almost every WhatsApp button here. Yes, let's just pick a phone icon, perhaps. Let's use this one. Let's just use the phone icon. Maybe you can just choose a different one. Let's search for phone. So we're going to choose the color of this based on our sample. Let's pick a color, maybe green. So make sure we zoom in so that we can see clearly what we are doing. So we are dealing with small text here. And also you make sure that even if it's small text here, it's going to be visible when they print. So I need to make this smaller. Duplicate once, move it into line, duplicate again using Ctrl D to be in the same line. That's another cool trick right there. So I see that the color of this text has been changed to this. I'm not sure that was a good idea. Maybe if we apply a little bit of a shadow, drop shadow which is black, maybe you apply some blur to the drop shadow and the transparency. Maybe that would be better. So in that case, we just instead of changing this again, just use that button that I showed you earlier, copy style and paste style, right like that. See that? Okay, that's another cool trick, right? So this side, for this side, we want this icon. Get this icon, this phone number. Use this navigation buttons, navigation bars. Navigate the document. You can also, I don't know if you can use, you can't use the space bar like in Photoshop. Again, I want to copy this style and paste it to this text. Next is make sure I have to make sure all this text is on the same line. All the elements are on the same line. So in our case, we are going to use one email for now. But if they are two, of course, you have to find a way of fitting them here. Maybe you can reduce the size and see if they fit. Okay, if you move anything mistakenly, just use Ctrl Z to go back. Okay, so they finally fit, and I also need to select them and remove the underline. And instead of this, I need to use Shift and button right there, which I'm not sure is called, but it creates something like that. And for this text, it needs some kind of a shadow to it. Okay, what else? I think we need more space because I see that I had two lines right here. Maybe if we did reduce the line spacing like that, maybe we could get some more space. Reduce the line spacing in these two. Maybe that would help us get a little bit of more space down below. Also, I see that this text is up and this is not on the same line. Now they are in the same line. That means this is not in the same line as this. Also have to make sure of that. Okay, now we need go back to elements and search for email and bring in the email icon that you need right here. Scale it down and give it the correct color. In fact, I think these ones should be in red, but before we change them, we're going to use this as our example. So if this is in size 5, maybe you can get more space. This is also in size 5. So if I duplicate this and use the scroll bar to go to this side, the document, and I collapse that to get more space to work with. Now I can delete all these, but instead I could select all of them and scale them down at once. Since I've already deleted them, duplicate once and put it into position and duplicate again to be in the same line. Maybe if it's not, you can select all of them at once and try to see the position if there's any chance of realigning them, but this seems to be uh, ready to go. Maybe I can reduce the increase line spacing just again, make sure each phone number is on the same line as the icon. Lastly, I think we need a little bit of more space down below. Just some little space and we are good to go. So in that case, we are going to squeeze these ones. Let's first deselect the background photo. Remember, we have background photo and we have this shape. So you might end up selecting each of these separately, but you notice that this is on top. So it's stopping me from selecting which I can use. Right click and say layer, send backward. Let's see if I can select. Now it's at the back, but it's not at the back of all these. So maybe in that case, that's why I always use the shortcut control in bracket or out bracket. I've showed you this at the beginning of the video. So now I can freely select all these that are on top of that element. So I can move this like this up. You notice this is a very small space that we have moved, but it's very important down below. So again, I'm going to select all this by using marquee, rectangular marquee selection. Select the photo, background photo, select the shape, and then move the rest up like this. Again, we crop this and we have enough space for our contacts. So we select all the contacts using all the contact info using rectangular marquee selection. We select the image using shift key and then we can move this info up like this. Okay, lastly, I think we have for that you can just go with that, but I think we need more space down below. So from elements, let's search for line, and then we can bring in a line like this, rotate it to 90 degrees, maybe minus 90 degrees, depends. Now it seems like we can't scale it down more than that. Maybe we can try this one. That one is okay. We can scale it down and rotate it to 90 degrees or minus 90 degrees, and make sure I reduce the size like that. This is not the one that we are looking for. Okay, maybe it is, because if we select it, we go to border style. It's not the one. This is like an image. So what we are looking for is a line that we can reduce. Maybe we can just duplicate this shape like that, and then can be able to reduce it to the size that we want by zooming in. Now it seems that was not the case again for this. So there's a specific line that I believe is applied here. Maybe if we scroll through, we can find the shapes. This is what we are looking for. So what we are looking for is the line from the shapes, not the line from the graphics. So this line from the shapes, you can go to line style and reduce the line weight to maybe one, as you can see, more control. Then reduce its height and rotate it to 90 degrees. And bring it into place like that. Duplicate it for the other side like this. And then we need to put the name by duplicating that text, making sure the alignment is in the center, and putting its name. Make sure it's not the italic version, and make sure it's bold. Then duplicate this link and make sure it's aligned to the center, and then you go back to the brief and get this last link. So as you can see, this was our last link, and it seems like that way we are done with today's video. Unfortunately, things come to an end. Alright, so this is what we have created today from scratch, from a blank canvas to this. The last thing you might want to place is this money pile. The good thing is the client gave me a good name to search, which is bundle notes. So in that case, I just went to Google and searched for bundle notes, but also make sure it's a 50k bundle, 50,000 Uganda cedis bundle notes. Okay, in that case, I got photos like this, and just download one of these, maybe this one. Then right click, as usual, right click, open image in new tab, right click, save image as. So before we save, here is a cool trick. You see this text here. If you want, you can just leave it there, but if you want, you can crop it. You can even use this snip and sketch tool for taking screenshots in Windows. So just click new and take like that. Just like that, you have already cropped off that text down below. So you save this instead. And then to remove the background for free without paying any cash amount, just search for background remover. We have free tools here like remover.ai. Just upload or drag and drop the photo, and just in one click, just like that, the background is being removed. can just download the photo right away in HD. This was not in HD, and in HD it seems like I have to pay, but for the other version just click download and you get it for free. Same with this, but most of these, if you want it's full HD, you have to pay, but they are free for lower resolutions. So now we have this. We just need to go back to our design and just drag and drop what we just like that. So we can just bring it down below. If it replaces something, we use Ctrl Z to undo. Then, for example, if it replaces like that, use Ctrl Z to undo, bring it again. Or you can just select it once and use the arrows, that arrows, down arrow, up arrow to move it like that. The other thing I think we need to do is maybe move this a little bit up, this section here, these opportunities. Or we can just scale down this photo to make sure the opportunities available have their own dedicated space. So I think that's a pretty professional flyer right there. Created this from scratch in how many hours? I guess like 2, 3, maybe 3 hours. It might take more if you go through the whole process of doing the research, looking at some various designs from all over the world just to get your mind warmed up for the design. Okay, so it might take less if you are more experienced and you have everything in place, maybe all the photos in place, and you already had some design in mind in place. If the client has some specific type of design they want you to follow, so it depends on many factors. But that's how you go along creating flyers uh, in Canva and any type of any other graphics, maybe brochures, maybe business cards. All the techniques we have looked at in this video, you can combine and you can reuse them for any type of graphics that you want to create. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you did find it helpful, because if you did find it helpful, be sure to leave a like and share the video with your friends. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't and click on the bell notification button. That way, when we release a new video, you'll be notified. Alright, and also don't forget to check out the free course, the free Canva course on Udemy and on the YouTube channel, as well as on my website at mugabeimran.com. Alright, thank you very much for joining me in this Canva tutorial, and I hope to see you in the next one. Text to post without AI. Text to post without AI.